Welcome back, Wildlings, to the Wild Podcast. Today we're diving into the life of a creature full of surprises. A massive, river-dwelling giant that's both feared and misunderstood. It spends most of its life submerged in water, yet can outrun most of us on land. With jaws that can crush bones and a nature that's as protective as it is powerful. But don't let its calm, water-loving appearance fool you. Our guest today is one of the most dangerous animals in Africa, known for shaping the rivers and wetlands it calls home. This isn't just any animal, it's one that commands respect and plays a crucial role in keeping its ecosystem balanced. So without further ado, let's give a big welcome to our mighty guest, the hippo.
All right, let's dive in, pun intended. I bet a lot of our listeners don't know that you, Mr. Hippo, are a master at hanging out in the water without actually swimming. I hear you prefer to walk along the riverbed instead. So what's the secret to living in both worlds, and how does all that time in the water keep you going?
You've got that right, Theo. Swimming? Not my style. I prefer to keep my feet on the ground, even underwater. I walk, glide, and push myself along the riverbed. The water is my comfort zone. It keeps me cool and safe from the blazing sun. Plus, I can stay submerged with just my eyes and nostrils above the surface, so I'm always on the lookout. And when night falls, I step out onto land to graze. It's like having two worlds to call home, and each one keeps me going strong.
It's hard to imagine, but I've heard that hippos like you have faced some serious threats over the past few decades. I understand that hippo numbers have dropped sharply due to poaching and habitat loss. With these challenges, what impact has this decline had on the ecosystem? And what can we learn about the importance of protecting species like yours?
Yes, Theo, it's true. In recent years, our numbers have dropped dramatically. Poaching, habitat loss, and competition for water have made it difficult for my kind to survive. But what many don't realize is that our role in the ecosystem is much bigger than just being big, heavy creatures lounging in rivers. You see, as we move between land and water, we help transport essential nutrients like silicon from the land into the rivers. This silicon feeds diatoms, which are tiny plants that produce oxygen and support fish populations. Without us, those diatoms struggle, and harmful algae can start to take over, which can lead to a lack of oxygen in the water and even threaten the fish that people rely on for food. Our decline doesn't just affect the rivers, it ripples out to the animals that share our habitat and even to the humans who depend on those waters. It's a reminder that each of us has a role to play in the balance of nature, and when one species is lost, that balance is disturbed. Protecting species like mine isn't just about saving hippos, it's about safeguarding the health of entire ecosystems.
You're absolutely right. Every species plays a part in the bigger picture. But I'm curious about the journey that led to this resilience. I've heard that your ancestors roamed the earth for millions of years, evolving through countless changes. How has your species adapted over time, and what behaviors have changed as you've evolved to fit into this ever-changing world?
That's a great question, Theo. We hippos have indeed been around for millions of years, adapting to survive countless changes. Interestingly, we're not as closely related to animals like pigs as many might think. In fact, our closest relatives are the whales and dolphins. Yes, our ancient ancestors shared a common lineage with these fully aquatic creatures before we each took our own paths, one to the open waters and the other, like us, remaining semi-aquatic. While my cousins returned entirely to the sea, my species adapted to live both in water and on land. And over time, we developed strong, stocky bodies and skin that secretes a natural sunscreen to protect us from the sun. As habitats have shrunk, we've become more territorial, guarding our areas fiercely to protect our families. But despite all these changes, our connection to the land and water remains as strong as ever. Through every adaptation, our goal has been to fit into the natural world, helping to sustain the balance that supports all life around us.
Thank you for sharing so much with us today. As we look to the future, what gives you hope? What message would you like to share with those listening about how we can all help protect your species and preserve the balance of nature for generations to come?
Thank you, Theo. Despite all the challenges we face, there is hope. I see it in the growing number of people who care about protecting the natural world and the efforts being made to create safe spaces where my family and I can thrive. It's inspiring to know that more people are understanding that when they protect us, they're also protecting clean water, healthy rivers, and vibrant ecosystems that benefit everyone. And my last message to your listeners is this: every action, no matter how small, makes a difference. Whether it's supporting conservation efforts, raising awareness, or just appreciating the role each species plays, it all adds up. By respecting and protecting the balance of nature, you're helping to create a future where animals like me and the people who depend on these ecosystems can continue to thrive for generations to come. Together, we can make sure that our rivers, our lands, and our world remain full of life.
Thank you so much for that powerful message, my friend. You heard it, wildlings. Each of us has a role to play in protecting the incredible creatures that share our world. So, what can you do? Start small, learn, share, and support conservation efforts wherever you can. Remember, your actions ripple out just like the rivers our hippo friend protects. And before you go, I have a little surprise for you. Next week, we're diving into the world of another magnificent creature, one with a roar that echoes across the savannah. Who could it be? Tune in to find out, and together, let's keep exploring the wonders of the wild. Don't miss it. Subscribe, stay curious, and be a part of this journey with us. See you next time on the Wild Podcast.